Hi, I'm Kathryn Frankson, Director of Event Marketing at Informa, and these are my tips. The first is pre-show audience questions. Drop your question in chat is probably one of the most common things that we hear during a virtual event, but a great way to engage your audiences before the event is to actually have them ask their questions during the registration process. So put a drop down within your registration form where they can ask their most burning questions. That way they can anticipate if that's going to be answered. You can have all of that data at scale so you can know really the biggest problems that your audience wants solved during your event. And your speakers can also steer towards those top questions. So it sort of accelerates when they can get involved with the event itself. Two, create a theme that allows you to incorporate surprises. When you set your event theme, that's going to impact everything from your marketing to your UX to your look and feel. But another thing that you want to think about is how can you offer unexpected moments during your event that your audience will be delighted by. I was on an event earlier in the year that was called Hot Event Trends. And imagine my surprise when I started watching the event and the speakers had hot wings delivered and they were eating it. And it was this great storyline that ran in the background of while they were sharing these trends. And it gives your audience something to follow along with. It becomes a really easy conversation starter in chat. People can screenshot it and share it on social. So those surprising elements, those that are a little bit unexpected, can really capture the attention of your audience and keep them engaged because it's something that can fuel their conversation too. And three is transport your attendees. I think a good way to do this is if you're using roundtables, especially for some of your more curated events, instead of expecting a moderator to just field questions and let's open the floor for questions, think about it as an opportunity to take those select group of attendees and transport them elsewhere. There was an environmental event earlier this year that in each of the roundtables, the moderators were in incredible locations, solar farms, in a biochar field, in a LEED certified building. And that meant that audiences were able to see something and talk about it that they wouldn't have otherwise. And that's extremely exciting, extremely engaging because it sparks new ideas. And that is ultimately what they really want out of a virtual event.
Hi, I'm Tahira, Head of Events for Site Global. And my 3 tips are, first of all, have a great host. Figure out the energy that you want to have for your event and find the host that's going to be appropriate to that. We have had some fantastic DJs who have been hosts for our events. We've also had people who have been with us who are able to really connect the dots between the content that is happening. Having a great host not only lets you have transitions that make sense between your segments, but it also lets your audience know that there is going to be a transition so that they know that something new is happening. And you can also then work with your host so that you're making sure that your sponsors are recognized, your presenters are all introduced appropriately, and that you can have a little bit of fun with the people who are joining us. All of those are important. The second tip is to bring in audience stories. During a recent event that was a 12-hour telethon event, Site Night All Night, what we did is we had people at registration share their own extraordinary stories. And as we wove together the content, all in 5 to 15-minute segments, bringing together chapters from 28 countries around the world, we were able to bring in stories from our audience. And people really connected to that because they weren't just hearing about what was happening on the screen. It was a way of bringing those audiences together and a way of really building on our community. And that was really the reason we were doing that event. Was the purpose was to really bring our community together. So hearing a great story about something from someone who wasn't on the screen extended that reach. Having chat instigators is my third tip. So what do I mean by that? Well, we want to have a really lively and active chat stream because we know that when you're watching something, you're going to connect to it through what you're seeing, what you're hearing, but also through the other people and what they're saying about what they're seeing and hearing as well. And being able to give shout outs, where are you from, and connecting to people you might not have seen in a while that you recognize their name in a chat stream. All of those are important. What our chat instigators were doing was keeping those chats on track. So keeping the content connected to the people in the audience. What did you think about that? Oh, do you have anything to add? When we had pre-recorded sessions, our chat instigators were often the speakers who were on the screen. And that was something that the audience really enjoyed and appreciated. And it really made it feel as if they were just a lot more present. So my 3 tips, again, have great hosts, connect your audience using their stories, and bring on a chat instigator. Enjoy the rest of the tips.
Hi, everyone. My name is Liz King Caruso. I am the CEO of techsytalk and Liz King Events. And I'm really excited to be here to talk about engagement strategies for virtual events. It's been such a crazy year, so excited to join Kathryn and Tahira here with some ideas, some tips for you. So here are my very quick 3 tips in 3 minutes. The first one, as it relates to engagement, is to start before the event. And, that sounds fairly intuitive, but the truth is a lot of people are so focused on the planning of the event, the polling, the Q&A, all the engagement things that people are doing right now during the event. But really think about how you can build the excitement and get people ready for the event before they even get there. This is going to matter not only because it ups your engagement rates, but it gets more people to show up and participate. So you're starting off on the right foot. So some of the tips here are just really make sure that you are leveraging your sponsors for great content, that you do things like sending gifts to your attendees and making sure that they get that surprise and delight before the event even begins. I love the idea. We've done this for techsytalk several times of a merch store where your attendees can go in and purchase different items. And it's great to see them on video on the day of wearing, the event t-shirt or, drinking a coffee out of that mug. So really just giving people the opportunity to tune into the fun before the event even begins. I like the idea of telling people to wear bright colors or things like that that are going to, on video, make the event that much more inclusive and fun. And so start before the event. Tip number 2 would be to leverage video. Make sure that your attendees have the opportunity to be engaged at the level that makes sense for them. Not everyone likes to be on video, but for those who do, it's great to give them the opportunity to kind of pop on camera and ask some questions to contribute to the conversation. Obviously, you want to use things like chat and polling and Q&A for your attendees who don't prefer to be on video. I'm usually one of those people. But video is a great way to get your attendees involved. And also it gives, even for those who don't want to be on video, it gives them a better experience where they're seeing their fellow attendees on video. The last tip I have for you with the last 40 seconds that we have is to make your attendees the star of the show. So everything from personalizing the experience, but also you want to think about things like letting them drive the conversation. One of the ideas I'm obsessed with, you're going to see this at our upcoming techsytalk conference, is letting them spin off conversations on topics that they're really passionate about. So you want to do things like make sure that there's time. So if there's a session and from that session, your attendees really want to talk more about topic A, B, and C, you spin them off into these roundtables, let your attendees drive the conversation, talk about what they've been learning. This is the typical Clubhouse model where your attendees get to be part of the conversation. So highly, highly recommend that you try something like that. So those are my 3 tips. Have a great rest of the day. And please let me know if you have any questions.